Hello everyone. Let's take a few deep breaths before we get into our first pose. Calming the breath. Breathing inhale and exhaling. We're going to start in dangling pose today. So if your hamstrings and back are real tight, you might want some blocks. Basically, it's just to get into this pose, you're going to lean over and dangle. So it's a real simple pose to get into. If you can't reach the floor, you can put your hands on blocks. You can put your fingertips on the floor. And if you like to go a little further, you can grab opposite elbows. Now, if at any time that becomes too much, go ahead and put your fingertips on the floor or those blocks again. This is an excellent stretch for the entire back of the body, and it decompresses the spine. I really like this pose because I have some herniated discs, so sometimes the forward folds that are seated bother my back if I round it too much, but this one I can do without any problems. We're going to be holding our poses for 3 minutes for most of them, the next one just for 2, because it is a shorter class today. But normally for Yin, we do hold poses for 3 to 5 minutes. And we do that in order to get into our connective tissue of the body. So you're going to want to relax those muscles as much as possible. In this first standing pose, we are using a little more muscle, obviously. But in the seated poses, try to really relax those muscles as much as you can. And we'll get into the fascia, ligaments, tendons, joints, really get in there to stretch those. And I will be getting you into each pose, but then I'll be quiet and let you meditate, because this is an important part of this practice is meditation, quieting your mind, training your mind to be quiet. So that is part of the Yin experience. So let's go ahead and focus on our breath or your mantra, whatever helps you meditate. Okay, slowly kind of straighten out your back, shake out your legs, help yourself up carefully with your hands, walk them up your legs. This is a hard pose to get out of. Feels good once you're up though. Stretch a little bit. We're going to be coming into a toe squat next. So this one we're only going to hold for 2 minutes because it is pretty intense. So, just make sure you go to your edge. For this pose, you will probably be uncomfortable. It really electrifies and wakes up all the 6 lower body meridians that run through your feet. So this is an excellent pose to get those stimulated, but it can be painful. So if you can stick with it, go ahead and stick with it for 2 minutes while we're here. This is a good one to really help you focus on your breath. and it does get easier over time. I'm sure you're ready to come out of this pose, so go ahead and lean forward, tap those feet out. Ah, it feels good, doesn't it? Roll around a little bit. We're going to come into deer pose next. So the easiest way is to keep your feet wide apart and then just drop your legs over to one side, just like I'm doing there. Now it's important to keep yourself lifted, keep your pelvis parallel with the ground. So if one of your hips is up a little too high, you can put a blanket or some padding underneath the opposite side so it kind of levels out your hips a little bit. And it is a difficult pose because this is kind of an awkward position for your hips to be in. We don't normally internally rotate our legs very much. So if you would like to, you can certainly stay straight up, or you can lean forward. If you have any low back issues like I do, sciatica, keep your back straight and lean forward. Otherwise, you can go ahead and round your back and get a good lower back stretch as well as the hips. Just remember to listen to your body. Back out if you have any pain, but if it's just uncomfortable, try to breathe through it. Slowly push your way up to seated. And a windshield wiper those legs. That can be a tough pose. Definitely an awkward position for your hips, but it's really good to get into all angles. When you're ready, go ahead and come to the other side. This side will probably feel different from the other side, so that's perfectly normal. Go ahead and prop your hip up on the opposite side if the one hip's coming up. And if you would like to lean forward, just make sure you're comfortable with your head hanging, or if you'd prefer, you can prop up your head to completely relax your muscles. So if you have a bolster, blocks, you can even use your hands to help support your head. So basically whatever you feel you need, go ahead and do that. Gravity will help you down as we go through the pose, but don't push it too far because we are holding these for a while. Slowly push yourself back up to seated. You're going to shake out those legs, do your windshield wipers. You may want to do a reverse tabletop. Whatever your body needs right now, go ahead and do that. We're going to come to all fours, and we're going to come into melting heart. So this is a great thoracic lumbar stretch. So try, I don't have my hips quite over my knees, but try to have your hips over your knees. Lean forward. You can place your head on a block. If you're a little more flexible, you can put your forehead on the floor or even your chin on the floor. Some really flexible people can even get their chest, but I'm not there. Now this can be a little much on the shoulders, so if it is too if it hurts your shoulders, you can do Sphinx instead of this, but this is a really good upper body stretch. Slowly walk yourself up. Maybe do some cat-cows. Stretch out that back. That one can be pretty intense. Maybe come into a child's pose for a few breaths. If you do that, go ahead and turn your palms upward, which takes the pressure off of your shoulders, lets them relax a little bit. Or you can put them by your feet. And we're going to make our way into a cat catching its tail, which is a great twist. Really feels good. So to get into this, you'll roll over to one side and you bring the top leg out in front of you and grab your foot. If you have a strap, you can use the strap if you can't quite catch your foot. Try to straighten out that top leg, but if you need to keep it bent, that's fine. And then if you like to go further, that bottom leg, you'll put your heel towards your butt and then grab that bottom foot with your top arm. I know it's a little confusing to describe, but as you can see, I've got it there. And then you'll roll your chest open to the sky and pull back on that foot. So this is a great stretch for the front of the quad of the lower leg. You've got the IT band of the upper leg. You've got your chest opening, so it's a really good stretch here. It feels really good. Slowly let go of that bottom foot and your top foot. Roll onto your back. Go side to side, readjust your spine. And when you're ready, come to the other side. This is another one you probably will feel different on both sides. But just try to get both shoulders flat on the ground if you can. Really stretch that chest. Get a good stretch in that bottom quad and the top IT band. And you can tilt your head either toward the upper foot, or if you like a little bit more, you can turn to the left or to the bottom foot. I've got the sun in my face, so I'm turning away from the sun. Okay, slowly release the bottom and the top foot. Roll over to your back. Roll side to side and readjust that spine. And now it's time for the best pose, Shavasana. So go ahead and get into your most comfortable position. You might want to put a bolster under your knees if you have one. That releases the low back. And just breathe. Slowly bring some movement back into your hands and feet. Bring your knees up into your chest. Roll side to side. Slowly and mindfully come to one side and rest here for a couple breaths. Using your hands, make your way up to a seated position. Cross your legs. Take a moment here. Bring your hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today.